Yo, what's up, YouTube? How are you doing tonight? I am your host, the one and only Jake the Asshole. What's going on? How is everybody feeling tonight? My watch page just popped on and it has Cayman Jack fucking ad rolling and it made me dance, so that's good. Hell yeah. Everybody feeling good tonight? It's Friday night. It's Friday night and the moon is bright. Gonna have some fun, show you how it's done. TGIF. I stole that. I did not write those lyrics, but I sing them just as good as they've ever been sung. Rose Bill says, hello, everyone. And I agree, hello, everyone. And Jonna X says, hello, Jake and friends. Hello, Jake and friends. Hello to everyone, and hello, Jake and friends, whichever you may happen to be. You're either one of everyone, or you're Jake, or you're one of the friends. Those are your only options here. If you are a troll or a piece of shit or an asshole and you're here to talk shit and throw me off my game, well, you might as well hit the bricks, mister, because it's not going to work. There's been plenty of trolls roll through here. They talk shit in the chat, whatever, every once and again. And eventually I spot them, I ban them, and they're gone. Then they have to go get a new account and try again. And guess what? It never stops me. So all you shit talking losers who hate me so much and you're so jelly and you're drinking haterade all night and you're going to try and come mess with me in the comment section, guess what? It's not going to work. Never has worked. I'm still here. Still laying down the truth. All right. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Says, hello, cool hat guy. Thank you, Grishnitsky. Again, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I don't recognize you here, but glad you made it. Yes, I am the cool hat guy. All right. You know what I like about Aurora? She comes with the emoji faces whenever I do something funny. So if you're ever sure whether to laugh or not, all you got to do is look at Aurora. She's going to let you know with the emoji faces that I done said something funny. It's time for you to laugh. All right. All right. Shrooming Newman Force is checking in here real quick, Jake. Oh, you're just going to check in real quick? And then what, leave? You one of those like hit it and quit it sort of fellows? You're just going to come check in real quick and then leave? Is that your plan, mister? Well, I'm not having it, Mr. Shrooming Newman. If you're going to check in here, it's got to be real slow. www. None of these fast check-ins here. We don't allow it. Just kidding. We do. Or am I? All right. Starting us off here with the first super chat of the night, we got Saul Rosenberg. He usually says something funny. Oh, shit. He's saying something that I don't know what he's saying. Okay, so Saul says, why is Nimarata Randhawa, a.k.a. Nikki Haley, constitutionally eligible? Oh, wait, that doesn't matter anymore. Brian Andrew Grossman insists you are a Jew. Well, that's a weird comment to get us started, but thanks, Saul. Usually you're a lot funnier coming with the jokes, but this one falls short of having a good punchline. I think you need to go back and work on the funny Saul jokes. But thank you for the super chat nonetheless. And thank you for bringing up one of my longtime trolls, Brian Andrew Grossman. All right. Yep. We got, oh, yeah. Before I forget. What is that? What's up? We still do that around here. If we don't do it, no one will, and that's why we do it. Otherwise, the tradition will die, and when traditions die, it's very sad. So we don't let traditions die, especially these traditions, which matter so much in the grand scheme of things. What? All right, so David Yount here says this mod is still here. That's right, this mod's still here. Cheers to you, sir. Had to bounce a couple mods, but do I miss them? No. Who are they? Who cares? The ones who matter are still here. That's the thing. People think that like they can stab me in the back, make a hit piece about me, spread a bunch of rumors about me. Guess what? A year's going to go by, 2 years, 3. I'm still going to be here, still doing what I do. It's not going to stop me. It's never stopped me. So all that shit that every hater and every shill ever did to ever try and stop me, I'm here right now streaming. So it didn't work. You know how many hit pieces have been done about me to make all you guys stop liking me? You know how many? Like a fucking 100 bazillion nigtillion. Yes, nigtillion. It's not racist. That's an accurate statement. You like how I did that right there? It's my own patented brand of comedy. Don't copy it. I'll sue you. So yeah, all the haters who've ever made hit pieces about me, their goal was to get you to stop liking me, stop watching forever. And guess what? Here you are right now watching me, and here I am sucking in the super chats. Num, 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 num. Doing what I love, making a living, being Jake the asshole. Right now. They don't want it to happen. They don't want you to give me money for being Jake the asshole. But you're doing it. You know why? It's because you guys are the most awesome, amazing, most stupendous, I haven't used that one in a while, audience who ever existed. That's right, you guys. You right there. Each and every one of you, you, the most amazing, awesome, stupendous audience who ever existed. Thank you. Watch, like right now, you got Jonna coming in here. She says, don't stop ever. Can't stop, won't stop till the day I die. What's up? Gonna keep rocking. Ain't no stopping, right? Especially with beautiful mods like Jonna here, hooking me up with super chats. Why would I stop? There's no reason to. You know what makes them real pissed off? The more you guys love me, the more they hate me. The more they're like, I can't believe someone's giving him money right now. And they're like so angry right now. Like right now, there's a troll. Like, I can't believe someone gave him money. Oh my God, I'm going to die inside. Good, die inside. All you trolls and all you haters. My audience loves me and I love my audience. It's an unbreakable bond and you can't stop it. Thank you, Sunflower, as well. She says, let's go. Jake is on the case. I'm feeling it tonight. I'm feeling it. You know why I'm feeling it tonight? It's one of those subjects that's just like so ridiculous, an Indian moon landing. And I already made a video and it already did good. So there's no reason to be in a bad mood tonight. We're gonna like make fun of the Indian moon landing. It's gonna be hilarious. We're all gonna just sit here and just make fun of that stupid shit together. Like a big family. All the haters are gonna be mad, like, wah, Jake's doing something he loves and people love him for it. Wah, how can I say something in the chat to like ruin it? You can't. You can say your shit. My mods might not kick you out, but eventually I'll see you and I'll kick you out. So haters, beware. Beware. I'm full of love tonight. Full of love tonight. Good vibes. Gonna have a good time and you can't stop me. You know why? Because I'm unstoppable. That's what happens. I can't be stopped because I am unstoppable. Therefore, nothing that the haters or the trolls or the agents or the shills, what have you, nothing that they plan on doing is going to stop me tonight. Nothing going to stop me from having a good time, making you guys have a good time. We're going to laugh. We're going to enjoy. This is going to be a damn good stream. I can feel it already. I feel it in the air. Stephen Dacey here saying, Jake, pass your energy on to me. Keep fighting, brother. Oh, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it tonight. Whew. All right. That's right, Andy. I always notice, like, my mods are so polite that, like, they usually don't bounce like people. Sometimes people will show up and blatantly, like, insult me, and my mods are polite enough not to bounce them. But, just letting the haters know it never stops me. There was a dude who was like so angry that I like uh, made NFL rigged content better than him, that he tried to like slander and smear me, and now he doesn't even exist anymore. So all that slander and hate, it's just like gone. It's amazing. So whenever I see like longtime haters disappear and their efforts thwarted, they give up. They give up hating on me. It's amazing. Just shows that no matter what you do, no matter how much bullshit you throw my way, I'm still going to keep showing up and doing what I do. And people are still going to show up to listen to me do what I do. Okay, you guys ready to do what I do? Or yeah, let's do what we do together. You guys want to break down some this Indian space footage? It's what we're all here for. That's what the title's all about. We're going to make fun of that shit. So I figured tonight we would go over all the shit they've shown us as far as India landing anything on the moon, and we'll go over how ridiculous it all is and basic stuff. And then after that, I wanted to point out after that, got some disappointing news about what I thought was possibly a decent truther showing his true colors like they always do. Another truther looking like an agent. Sad but true. We'll get to that. But first, let's go ahead and start with a prayer. Do you guys know that the reason why India made it to the moon is because they prayed? Holding in the head and they pray to the God in the place that they get to the moon. And they want to go to the moon today, and please let us go to the moon. And then we pray to the moon and the God in the sky, and we rock it to the moon and the whatever, you know. So they prayed. You guys think I'm making this up? I'm not making this shit up. Check this out right here. See? The reason why their moon mission was successful, they prayed. And guess what? TV cameras were there. So in India, they got TV cameras, you know, going around checking out people praying. They film the people pray, and then they air the prayers beforehand for good luck. And guess what? They made it. So let's check out what I think is the reason why India was successful landing on the moon. The prayers. Totally. All right.
इसी के लिए कि अच्छे तरीके से वहां पे लैंडिंग हो जाए, सफलता पूर्वक हो जाए, उसी के लिए हम सभी चंद्र देवता से, भगवान चंद्र देवता के अधिपति भगवान शंकर से यह प्रार्थना कर रहे हैं कि
Isn't that awesome, you guys? India prays for their science, their space travel department, their space agency, like all the locals. Of course, this television example is representative of all the locals, right? They pray. They gather around the little fire pit dealie, and then they pray to Lord Shiva that the rocket makes it to the moon safely, right? I mean, there's no men on it. So they pray that the computer makes it to the moon safely, right? So their Lord Shiva, their God who they're praying to, that's what it says, Lord Shiva, is listening to the people, and the people are saying, Lord Shiva, please let the computers land on the moon. Lord Shiva, can you please let the computers land on the moon? We don't know how to put a man on the moon, but if you can put the computer on the moon safely, it costs a lot of money. We do not want the computer to crash on the moon. If you could please put the computer nice and safely on the moon, and then let us drive the moon rover around. We want to drive the moon rover around all over the moon. We want to drive from the South Pole to the North Pole, and then to the West Pole and the East Pole. We're going to explore all the poles and driving around. All right, getting carried away. But you guys understand that, like, they're praying for a computer to make it to the moon. Think about that. Of all the things to pray for, God, please don't let my dear mother die, right? Like that might be something. But no, instead they're like, God, please let a computer land on the moon. I mean, really? Your God cares about that insignificant shit? Is that what your God sits around listening to? Lord Shiva's listening from above like, oh yes, my friend, I'm going to make sure the computer makes it to the moon because it is such a big deal that you pray. Your Lord and your God is supposed to care about your computer going to the moon. Even if you believe in a computer going to the moon, don't you think it's a little bit like over the top to pray to God that a computer makes it to the moon? Like, to me, you should like save your prayers for what matters the most, like life and death situations. You shouldn't use it on like, please God, let the Tennessee Titans cover the spread. You shouldn't use it for simplistic shit. We're like, please God, can you let the computer rocket make it to the moon? Please God, can you make the computer rocket to the moon? And I pray to you in the sky, and computer rocket, it go to the moon and then make it to the moon. Right? Like, of all the things to pray about. Now I know they're not really praying. This is just made for TV. I just want to demonstrate how ridiculous it is if anyone was to pray for a rocket to go anywhere. If anyone was to pray for a computer to do anything, that's pretty ridiculous. I don't think this is a real prayer. I think this is all set up for TV. Just want to state that whatever we see here is all just bullshit. But pretty ridiculous to think anyone would actually pray for a computer. Let's move on. We've got so much to go over, and we've already started making everyone laugh. I had no idea I was going to be so funny tonight.
कि वह निर्विघ्नता पूर्वक हमारी जो वैज्ञानिकों की कामना है उस कामना को पूर्ति करें। इसी के लिए कि अच्छे तरीके से वहां पे लैंडिंग हो जाए, सफलता पूर्वक हो जाए, उसी के लिए हम सभी चंद्र देवता से, भगवान चंद्र देवता के अधिपति भगवान शंकर से यह प्रार्थना कर रहे हैं कि वह
Oh yeah, that doesn't look set up at all. That looks totally natural. That looks like what the Indian natives do all the time. I'm sure that is typical of every Indian household across the great country of India. I'm sure all of them had pictures of a rocket, and did a little seance and a prayer for the Chandradara moon missions, of course, right? So that's, of course, why they were successful. That's why they made it. They prayed. All right. I love my audience, and this is why. Rose Bell says, imagine the smell of those gross spices. Every once in a while, I kind of like some curry food. So it can all depend on what you think smells good or bad. But yeah. Oryx the Taken King says, pray for a can of deodorant. I pray to the Shiva King that not only does the computer rocket ship make it to the moon and then the moon rover drive around on the moon, I also pray for a can of deodorant because I smell like a goat's testicle. All right. And my Indian accent is amazing. It's not offensive. If anyone's wondering whether to be offended or not, don't be. It's awesome. You should be impressed by it. So if you're wondering, like, is this racist? Should I be offended? No, it's not. It's all 100% comedy, and you should be impressed by how funny it is. Just letting you know what you should be feeling right now. I don't want anyone confused. What's going on right here? Look at this. I got a whole string of emojis going. That's how I know that I'm hitting the funny bone tonight. Hitting the funny bone like the G spot tonight. Hitting it just right. Like a G string up your ass, feeling just tight. See there, I made it rhyme and funny and sexual all at the same time. That's how you know it's good. Okay. All right, let's get to the video that I made, which a lot of you guys already saw, but I want to go over a few things in my own video because people are getting a little confused about what's being shown. So, all right, David Yount coming in with a super sticker and a super chat. Thank you for the super chat and the super sticker. You are a super dude. I appreciate that. And Bob coming in also with a super chat says they were wearing orange for 33. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. See? So I'm glad you're here to notice that for me. Thank you, Bob, for noticing. And Bob, right now, your chat box is orange. So I guess that makes you Masonic. Just kidding, Bob. I know that you had no idea that you were going to end up being orange on here. Or did you, Bob? Bob, did you know that you were going to show up talking about orange and that your talking box was going to be orange? Did you know that? Was that part of your little evil plan, Bob? To give me money and talk about orange and have an orange box, mister? Aurora's laughing a lot tonight. At least the emojis suggest so. All right. That's right. Bob says, I think 20 bucks is orange. Okay, Bob. Whatever you say. All right, Bobberino. Baba laba ding dong. All right. So here we got my video, which a lot of you guys watched. And I got to say thank you guys for watching my stuff lately. My last few videos have done pretty well. People are getting confused in thinking that this computer graphic is supposed to be real. They aren't saying that this computer graphic is real. So they're admitting that the computer graphic on screen is a simulation and that it's not meant to be real. So they're admitting that there isn't any footage of the landing because there's no cameraman there. And so they're saying that they made this simulation in order to give people something to look at as the spacecraft is supposedly landing. So a lot of people are saying, oh, that looks so fake. That's the fakest thing I've ever seen. So if you are to show this to a normie, they're going to say, well, it's a simulation. It's not meant to be taken as real. So expect that. And so I never said that this was real or people thinking it's real, but a lot of people, I guess, are commenting about how fake it is. And so just letting you know, they're admitting that this is a simulation here. All right, so we'll watch some of my video and I'll go over some of it. For anybody who missed my video, it is really good. So I'll go over my video and then we'll get into what they do consider to be real. So there is some footage that they have that they say is real, and this is a simulation according to all the mainstream sources. Okay, here we go.
Currently, only 2 engines are now being fired, and we are nearly at zero velocity, vertical and horizontal. We were hovering, and now we are approaching the moon's surface.
जी हाँ, आप अपनी स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हैं कि हम लैंडर मॉड्यूल
People are applauding. Let us all wait to hear from the Secretary Department of Space and Chairman ISRO, Shri S. Somnath.
लैंडर मॉड्यूल पूरी तरह से सेफली और सॉफ्टली चंद्रमा की सतह पे लैंड हो चुका है। ये हम लोगों के लिए बहुत ही गर्व की बात है। हिंदी में एक कहावत है कि चंदा मामा दूर के, लेकिन अब हम ये कह सकते हैं कि चंदा मामा अपने घर के।
बहुत ही उम्दा. The hard work of the entire ISRO community has come to fruition.
Land on the moon, we land on the moon. Land on the moon, we land on the moon. Land on the moon, we land on the moon.
All right, y'all. Are you ready to break down this nonsense? Ready or not, here we go. First things first, what we see on the screen is computer generated. It is not real. It doesn't even look real. I hope nobody believes that that is an actual spacecraft landing on the moon. That's definitely a computer graphic. So a computer graphic is not evidence of anything landing on the moon at all. So we can take this computer graphic and we can throw it out immediately. Next, they show us a room full of people clapping and cheering. However, people clapping and cheering does not prove that anything landed on the moon. So we can take this footage and we can throw it out as well. So if you're looking for actual evidence that India landed a spacecraft on the moon, this is about the best that you're going to find. And it's pretty terrible. I mean, look at it. This grainy crap in the background is supposed to be the moon. And don't you just love how they always have an obstructed view?
I mean, it's 2023 and nobody can figure out how to mount a camera so that you can get a clear view of the moon landing. No, you always have to have a panel in the way blocking like half the shot. You have some sort of instrument obstructing the view always. Like, they can't figure out how to mount a camera without the view being obstructed. Maybe one of these days in the future they'll figure this out. But this is the best we get as far as evidence is concerned. And you have to ask yourself, is this something that could be faked? Yes. Does the government have incentive to fake space travel? Yes. So therefore, in my opinion, this is 100% fake. So therefore, we can throw this out as evidence as well.
All right, so that was from my video. Hopefully, you guys have already seen a lot of that, and pretty ridiculous what they're trying to pass off as if they got something to the moon. So the only part that they're saying is real. Let me pull that back up real quick. The only part they're actually saying is real is this part right here. So they're claiming this part right here is real. And my thing is, like I said in the video, like, how come all these shots got to have something blocking the way like that? We never get a fully unobstructed shot. There's always something like a panel or something in the way, right, to divert your attention away from what's really on screen. So this part they're claiming is real. So I don't want anyone thinking that if you show the first part, this right here, and say, oh, look how fake it is. Because I'm noticing, like, on social media, TikTok, and all these places, supposed truthers, flat earthers are like, look, India's faking the moon landing. And then they're just showing this CGI graphic. And so what you're going to get is a bunch of people saying, well, that's just a simulation of what it would look like when they do land on the moon, because there's no cameraman there. So we can't use this as evidence of that they are faking it. So we do get to use this, though, because they're claiming that this part right here is real. So if they're going to claim this is real, here's my rebuttal. How big do you think the moon is, or how small do you think the moon is, India? The moon isn't so tiny to where the horizon just drops off like every few miles. Like, do you think that the moon is just like 30 miles in diameter? Because that's what it looks like. It looks like we're looking at like a small, itty bitty teeny rock that's maybe 30 miles in diameter total. Like, look at that much curvature, and then look at the supposed craters and stuff going by. And this is just before it supposedly lands on the moon. So how small is the moon, India? See, they can't quite figure out how big or how small it's supposed to be. You know, the moon should still be big enough for a tiny human for it to appear to be flat. So when you start getting close to the moon's surface, even according to mainstream science, it should start to flatten out and the closer you get, there shouldn't be any visible curvature. So it's almost like they go too far to present the curvature to you, to the point where now they make the moon too damn small. It's like, what is the moon supposed to be, like a quarter size of the Earth? That's still really big as compared to a itty bitty tiny person or a little spacecraft. So as comparison to a person or a spacecraft, as you get to the surface of the moon, it should appear to be flat, even if mainstream science says it's a sphere. They just can't seem to get this part right. Yeah, this part is supposed to be flat. Yeah, you want this to look more realistic? Get rid of the curvature, idiots. So they go out of their way to add the curvature to the mix. Yeah, they can't show the stars because astronomers will realize that the stars are in the wrong place. So putting the stars there presents a ton of problems. So the reason why they say you can't see the stars when you're on the moon is because to put them there puts them in a whole it opens Pandora's box for astronomers to point out that they're wrong. They don't want anybody who knows about the location of stars and has any credentials to start pointing out that they're wrong or whatever. And there's a bunch of amateur astronomers out there who believe everything about space. And so one of the tricks they use is to say you can't see any stars when you're on the moon. That way it relieves them from having to show you the positions of those stars. So for instance, like the Big Dipper would have to be in the correct spot at the correct time in every single shot. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, or any constellation would have to be in the correct position at the exact time. And so rather than mess with any of that, it's way easier. It's way easier to fake it by saying there are no stars when you get to the moon. You can't see any of them. So it's funny, I guess these stars like disappear and reappear conveniently. So how are you supposed to travel in space if the stars disappear? Oh no, they reappear again once you leave the moon's surface. So when you're on the moon's surface, you can't see the stars. But then once you leave the moon's surface, you can see them again. Yeah, okay. I get it. So when you're in the vacuum of space, you can see the stars. But when you're on the moon, you can't see the stars in the vacuum of space. Yeah. And see, here's the deal. They have agents like, I shouldn't even call him an agent. They have an actor like Simon Dan who will be given a script and he'll be like, it doesn't look fake at all. That's exactly how it's supposed to look. The reason why there's an instrument blocking the view is because it gives it more aerodynamics. Like, so they have a dude who's an actor who's got hundreds of thousands of subs who reads a script about me. And he'll tell you every time I make one of these videos that none of this looks fake. It all looks real. And that's the extent of his debunking, is saying that everything that I show is real and not fake. So people will be like, oh, are you going to respond to Simon Dan? He did a debunking of you. Like, no, he never debunked me. He just said that everything that I showed that is fake, he says that it looks real. So I say what's on screen right here is fake, easily manipulated, easily faked. There's a panel on screen for no reason. Simon Dan will just say it looks 100% real. And the panel on the screen is meant to be there for perfectly good reasons. And people will be like, he did a debunking of you. Are you going to respond? Like, no, it's not a debunking of me if you just claim that everything I said is not right and that it's all real. So yeah, there's a guy with hundreds of thousands of subs who has writers on his behalf tell you how real that everything is that I say is fake. That's how you know you've made it as a truther, when you have guys like Simon Dan reading a script that he did not write himself. telling you everything that I've told you is fake is actually real, and I'm just mistaken. The Cisco with a donation says, I'm surprised the moon does not have pronouns by now. Yes, the moon likes to be referred to as her. Luna. Luna. Luna, the demon, referred to as her. You do not want to land on her. If you land on her, very bad things will happen to you. Sorry. Okay. So basically, you can go to the beach, let's say, and manipulate the beach sand with craters, round craters. And you could just go along and this is just an example of how you could fake this. So you could go to the beach. You could manipulate a stretch of beach and put in what looks like moon craters and film that. And then mess with the colors to make it gray instead of brown, right? And then add this panel to take up half of the shot, and then add blackness. So get rid of the blue sky and instead add blackness. And literally, like, that's how easy it would be. You can go to a beach, add some craters yourself, go along and film it. Take out the blue sky, add blackness, add a panel taking up half the screen. I really do think that, like, if I really focused on it, I could make fake space images that fools the public every bit as good as NASA. I think it would be funny to somehow release fake space images made by me or somebody who's doing it purposely to show that these images can be easily faked and that the public falls for anything. It would be awesome to make NASA and these news agencies do damage control and be like, oh, there's fake images floating around, but those aren't the real ones. Those are the fake ones. It's like, it would be really easy to recreate fake images like this and get the public to believe it. So I wonder if I or somebody was to release a bunch of fake images and get the public believing in it, if mainstream media would then have to jump into damage control mode and be like, no, those ones aren't real. No, somebody went to the beach and doctored some footage and made their own craters. Those ones are, it would be awesome in a way. I think this might be something I have to look into in the future, creating my own fake space images, because I know how they're doing it. If I was to be able to be my own Stanley Kubrick, see where I'm going with this? If I was to Stanley Kubrick my way into creating the most authentic fake space footage that there is and actively try and dupe people with it, do you know how much damage I could cause? They better hope that I never get good enough to do that. I've been kind of lazy with my production skills. If I was to put in the time and effort to really learn how to do shit, I could make fake space videos. And if I was to put some money behind them and release them with some, let's say, like advertisement campaigns and whatnot to really get it out there and get sheep believing in it, man, I could do a lot of damage and get people to believe in my fake space videos. And then what? Is NASA going to be like, oh shit, this guy's lying and address me? Or will they let me continue to dupe people until I come out and tell them that I purposely made fake space videos purposely to dupe them, to show them how easy it is? Something I've always wanted to do, make fake space videos myself and dupe sheeple and then be like, I made that myself, idiot. I need the right type of software, and I need help. For me to do it all myself is going to be a huge pain in the ass, and I just don't have the know-how. But if I was to gain the know-how and have the help, I could theoretically make fake space videos every bit as good as NASA or any other agency and get sheep to believe it. So what would happen if Jake the asshole could create such realistic enough space fakery that NASA or other space agencies, government agencies have to come out and be like, don't pay attention to this. It's fake. Would they address me? Something I might have to look into in the future if I'm going to take this to the next level. Into the Break says that space area is black because there's no photos there. Get a clue about light dynamics and rocket science. Oh, is that what happened, Mr. Science? Into the Break says that space area is black because there's no photons there. Get a clue about light dynamics in rocket science. Yeah, you spelled science wrong, Mr. Science. You should probably take a grammar class and double check your sentences and spell check them before you send them to a professional comedian like myself, especially if you're planning on doing a little roasting with your donation. Thank you for your donation, by the way. I appreciate that. As far as the roasting is concerned, let me show you how it's done, Mr. Science. Hey! So is that light reflecting on that gray dust? Is the moon a big gray rock covered in gray dust? Is that light reflecting on there? Is that light and shadows there that I'm seeing? So the space is black because there's no photons, but there's photons right there on the moon where, you know, we can see that there's shadows and light and stuff. Crazy how that gray rock and all that gray dust is so bright when there's a full moon. So apparently, gray rocks and dust lights up super, super bright when reflected by the sunlight. Did you know that? Yeah. You see that gray rock right there? Yeah, that's the super bright thing at night. Yeah, crazy how that works. And Mr. Science is here. He doesn't know how to spell science, but he knows a lot about it. Mr. Skinese. Mr. Skinese is going to tell me about the photons and that I need to get a clue. You guys, you know what my problem is? I don't have a clue about photons. So that's why I need Mr. Skinese here to tell me and clue me in about why there's blackness on the moon. And the reason why that you can't see the stars, according to Mr. Skinese, is that there's no photons. That's right. Thank you, Mr. Skinese. Into the Break. I appreciate that. We are all so much smarter now that you let us know how photons work. Hey, Mr. Skinese, please send me more money and tell me why did the Indian Space Agency include a big giant panel blocking half their shot? What's the scientific purpose for blocking nearly half your shot with a panel? How come space agencies can't figure out how to not block their own shot with obstructions? Can you answer that while sending me more money, Mr. Skinese? Thank you. Whether he's joking or not, it makes for a good stream, huh? I hope he's not. Oh, he was joking. Man, that takes it away. See, I was being a dick on purpose, hoping that you weren't joking. Now that you're joking, man, I'm sorry, bro. That was funny. I thought you were being serious. Every once in a while, I do get a troll who comes in and says something ridiculous like that and means it. So I apologize. I was being a dick thinking that you were a real troll. He said I was Steel Manning for blurfs. For blurfs. So ball earthers are now called blurfs, I take it. Well, they do call us flurfs, so I guess it makes sense to turn around and call them blurfs, right? All right. All right, great times. Okay, so let's get back on track here. Keep everyone focused. Let's bring it back. So what we're seeing on screen is considered by people who believe the official narrative that this is real. So the computer graphic is a simulation of what it would look like for them to land on the moons to give people something to react to. So that's admitted. This is said to be real. And again, it would be very, very easy to fake this. Like I said, you could fake this as easy as like going to the beach. Many, many ways. So there's many ways to fake this. And so if you look at what they do give us, it's always just the most simplistic, bare bones, crappy graphics, crappy resolution. And you wonder in 2023 why this is the best that we get. You're going to obstruct the shot and give us this grainy crap right here. Like, that's it. Okay. So that's considered to be real. And then there's some new footage that just came out earlier today, I think, and it's also considered to be real. This is the Indian moon rover being deployed on the moon. And they're saying that the Indian moon landing is on the south pole of the moon, or near the south pole. So now the moon has poles. So the official story that they're telling is they've landed a unmanned craft on the south pole of the moon, and they're looking for frozen water. They're actually looking for ice on the moon. So now we have potential to find out that water is on the moon. And then, of course, they can say they find frozen organisms and claim they found alien DNA on the moon. So there's a lot they can do with the moon. So if you think the moon story is just a gray rock, think again. They can claim water. They can claim alien life in the water, as far as like microscopic bacteria or DNA or whatever, alien DNA. So there's a lot of different ways they can go with this story, but they're already bringing up water on the moon. Michael Cole says, it's frightening that people are convinced by this. Yes, people are convinced by anything. See, they've conditioned people with space movies like Star Wars and all those movies to make space this like really awesome thing. And so people look forward to hearing stuff like this. And it like I think it like gives them like shots of dopamine and things like that. It like touches like pleasure zones in people's brain to think that like there's space travel and exploration going on out there while you just sit there and do nothing. You sit there and do nothing and go to your boring little job. And other people out there, you know, who are really smart, they're going to explore these other worlds. And you just sit back and eat popcorn and wait for the news. So NPCs and sheep, you know, they're content with like waiting for little bits of information. Ooh, we might find water on the moon. Oh my God. Oh, I never knew there was water on the moon. Yeah. See? Now water on the moon is a thing. Suddenly. Okay. So this they're considering, or they're saying, is real. They're making the official claim. Mainstream science, all the space agencies, no one's denying this. They're saying that this is real, that a rover is landing on the moon. So let's see what it looks like when an Indian rover lands on the moon. There it is, y'all. That's it. That's what we get in 2023. That's as good as footage gets. And again, this is said to be real. This is not said to be an animation. This is said to be the genuine article. India deploying a rover on the moon. So don't get it twisted. This ain't no simulation. They're saying that that's really there. So they want people to believe that there's a car, a little remote control car on the south pole of the moon. And that's it right there. So those are the only two things that I found that they're claiming is legit moon footage. So you get the panel in the way as they're supposedly landing, and then this. That's it. 2 pieces of footage. And both of them look pretty terrible. What are you talking about? Neither of them look terrible. They look exactly how they're supposed to look. India achieved one of the greatest achievements in space exploration history, and it doesn't look fake at all. That's exactly how a rover being deployed would look, of course. And so that's what Simon Dan's writers are going to say in the next video about me. So I went ahead and wrote the script for him. So anytime I say that this looks fake and in 2023, we should get better evidence of a moon landing than this, Simon Dan's writers will write in that this is exactly how it's supposed to look. And I'm foolish for thinking otherwise. And then people show up and say, Simon Dan debunked you. You said it was fake. He said it was real. How are you going to respond to that, Flurf? I got to respond to Simon Dan telling me that this is real after I said it was fake? Okay, now I have to make a video saying he's stupid and that it is fake and that I'm not wrong? Okay, so then I make that video. And then guess what? He never responds to my response. That's always what happens. So whenever I do respond to a guy like Simon Dan and tell him, no, it is fake, and here's why, he doesn't ever go back and re-respond to those. No, his writers cherry pick the next thing. See? So I've made responses to the guy and proven my stance, but his writers don't want to go there. So now I know for a fact there are people out there who make videos about me who don't even write the fucking script that they read. So Simon Dan reads a script about me, and I can tell by the way he reads it that he didn't even write it. I can tell that it's the first time he's ever read that script. So he'll be reading a script talking about how crazy Jake the asshole is, and I can tell by the way he's reading it that that's the first time that he's ever read that. That's how I know that he didn't write it about me. So there's a team of people who watches everything that I do, including like this, and then they're like, how can we turn this into a script and have Simon Dan read it and get as many people as possible to buy into it, to do damage control for everything that Jake says about space. So specifically space, they have a guy to tell you everything that I say is fake is actually real. But here's the funny part. He won't touch any of the other conspiracies that I talk about. Only space. He doesn't want to touch rigged football. He doesn't want to touch fake shootings. So if I talk about space being faked, I have a dedicated agent with script writers who I know for a fact will talk about me. But if I say football's rigged or that a mass shooting was a hoax, he doesn't want anything to do with that. Or if I bring Q&Fee on with his modeling software, he doesn't want anything to do with that either. So he only wants to make a video about me in specific examples like this where he can say that everything that I've said is wrong and that it looks real. That's how you get hundreds of thousands of views these days. If you're a government agent, you sit there and you read the script tell them how real this looks, and tell them how it's my personal incredulity for saying that it's fake. Manuel Gonzalez says, okay, I thought the moon temp in the sun would melt that thing, and we can compute whether or not the sun would be casting those shadows. Let's debunk it. I'm sure if you looked into the shadows and stuff like that enough, you could find something wrong with it. But my thing is, even if the shadows, even if they get those right, it's stupid to think that there's a car on the moon. Just because somebody shows you something on a screen, especially nowadays, you should always take into consideration, can that be faked? And is there incentive for the government to fake space? There's a huge reason why the government would fake space. They get to collect billions of dollars annually to pretend to go to space. So as long as they just give you something on screen to make it look like they went, that's how easy they get to scoop up all that money without actually doing anything. So the less they actually physically have to do to prove to you that they're doing it, the better. So they get to collect all this money to go to space. So the more stuff they get to do on screen, that's the easier it is to fake everyone out. Whereas if they actually have to physically launch rockets, that actually costs money. You actually have to have people and actually put a rocket. So they do physically launch rockets in the air to keep the charade going. But as far as stuff like this is concerned, all we get is just grainy, crappy footage. And we're supposed to take that hook, line, and sinker. And if you have any sort of questions, or even if you question any of it at all, then you get attacked and insulted by these globe cucks who have a script like Simon Dan, Fight the Flat Earth, what have you. Looks like I missed the super chat. One sec. James Richard says, off topic, they very people that think Trump got the election stolen from him are the same people that think elections still exist, Earth is flat. Oh yeah, anybody still buying into the Trump BS, like, oh, they're trying to keep him down because he's a good guy and he's on our side. Yeah, it's all fake. So the whole like Trump being arrested is fake. He never spent any time in jail. He never really was arrested. It's all for TV. And so anyone buying into like Trump, like he winning an election and it being stolen from him, there is no election. There's only a selection. So presidents are selected by the ruling elites, and they go into it knowing who's going to win and who's going to lose. So it's like being booked at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns will be booked to wrestle like Cody Rhodes again at WrestleMania, most likely. And they'll know one way or the other who's going to win that match and how it's all going to go down. And it's kept as a secret to the rest of the world. And so that's the way I look at it, like WWE. You have two wrestlers, candidates, who are going to fake fight, fake run against each other, right? And one of them knows who's going to win already. So Trump probably already knows that he's going to be president again. If I was to guess, they're setting the table for Trump to return. So I think all this drama with Trump is to get the right to rally behind him in the polls and really get people to be up in arms about supporting their guy. They want the right wingers to think that their guy's being held down, and that they need to show extra support more now than ever to bring him back. So I see it as being almost a foregone conclusion that Trump comes back again. I could be wrong. So if I'm wrong, I'll totally admit it and be like, whoa, I got fooled on that one. But it looks like all the attention going into indicting Trump, arresting Trump, blah, blah, is setting the stage for the right wingers to vote with their heart. And make it look like his coming back is going to be like some sort of prophetic return, you know, like he'll be some sort of Christ-like figure returning. And then the liberals can demonize him, and it gives liberals a reason, of course, to like riot and stuff like that. And then I think also we could revisit the COVID pandemic lockdown situation under Trump. It would make sense if they were going to do another lockdown, another pandemic, that they would do so under Trump rather than Biden. So that would be my guess. Oh yeah, just in case anyone's coming in late, this is considered to be real footage of India putting a rover on the moon. So back on topic here. Anyone just now joining, we're going over the India fake moon landing. They're claiming that this is real, genuine footage of a rover being deployed on the moon. So in the future, these coming weeks and months, be on the lookout for fake photography and moonscapes from the supposed Indian rover. So I'll be interested to see how long it lasts and how many photos we get from this supposed rover on the moon. All right. No, of course, the Indians in control unbuckled it via remote control. They remote controlled, unbuckled it. Timothy, don't you know, bro? You need to like get a clue about science, bro. And learn about photons. Yeah, here's how you know Trump's not on our side. Does he come out and say, let me tell you what, that Indian moon landing, quite frankly, was the fakest thing I've ever seen. Nobody has ever landed on the moon, including our own government. And if you elect me, I will come back as your president and tell you the truth about what's really going on with the moon. All right? The truth will blow your mind. Does he say that? No, never. See, so anybody who acts like, dude, give Trump a chance, man. He might, when he comes back, actually. Anyone still buying in the Trump shit, drinking the Trump Kool-Aid, you got to be a moron. But they're out there. They're out there by the millions. Whenever I do a stream like this, there's always 5-10 people who like unsub from me and tell me in the comments, you're wrong about Trump. He only acted like he was supporting the vaccine. He was faking it so that he could get the Democrats to take the juice and die from it. He was only pretending to be endorsing the vax. So yeah, if he comes back, he's totally going to tell the truth about everything. If you don't vote for him, then you deserve to have Biden rule the world with the Democrats. Yeah, see, again, if Trump was even a slight bit legitimate, he would be talking about how fake this Indian moon landing is. Right? But not one single politician comes out and talks about anybody faking space. Isn't that awesome? Not one single politician in the whole entire world comes out and says, if you elect me, I want to do away with these fake space missions and spend the money elsewhere. No, that guy doesn't exist. Imagine a candidate who's like, yeah, when I'm in charge, we're going to take this NASA budget and we're going to solve the homeless crisis. No, fuck that guy. Fuck that guy forever. And that guy will never exist. Right? Yeah, I want to get rid of the space budget and instead like solve all these other issues. No, not gonna happen. Space travel so important. Solving the homeless crisis? Yeah, not nearly as big of a deal as trying to figure out how to get humans back on the moon. We're trying to figure out how to get humans back on the moon again. Yeah, people are starving and dying in the streets and putting up tents in every major city across the country, but we need to figure out how to get people back on the moon and then maybe to Mars. I think it would be quite great to die on Mars. I mean, if you're born in on the Earth and then you die on Mars, I think that would be cool. They'd go back to the moon in a nanosecond, but they lost and destroyed that technology. So it takes billions and billions and billions of dollars annually to try and figure out how the fuck they did that back in 1969 through 72. Let me tell you what, when they figure it out, we're going back to the moon, baby! It's just going to take several hundred billion more dollars. It's going to take like $1 million billion more dollars. Then we'll go back. James Richard says, wait until you see the locusts from the bottomless pit. They have a sting of scorpion and only hurt the flesh. They will be real, yet called aliens. If you say so. So apparently we're going to get attacked by locusts who sting us, and they're going to be called aliens, according to James Richard. You heard it here first. And he's got a predator as his profile logo. So you know he's got to be legit. That's got to be some hardcore legit truth that he's speaking right here. No way is that going to be misinformation. Thanks for the donation, buddy. You never know what you're going to hear on the Jake the Asshole channel from other people. I mean, for me, you're pretty much going to hear the truth and funny business. And it's up to you to decipher all that. But from other people, holy shit, you just never know what you're going to hear. I had no idea that that was something I was going to read today. But now I have. Bobby Zinger says, India is so dumb. They're only at 1963. Yeah, that's the reason why they're dumb. I can't think of any other reasons why India's dumb other than the fact that they're at 1963. Thank you, Bobby Zinger. That was one hell of a zinger of a comment, sir. James Richards says, I use the Predator avatar to show the evil that comes from the ball Earth, such as Predator coming from space. That's where the evil comes from. Thanks for clarifying. We were all sitting here wondering why you chose that profile, and now we actually are more informed as to why you did so. And I appreciate the extra super chat that you sent in order to inform my audience as to why you chose that profile pic. Everybody, there you go. James Richard. He uses the Predator avatar because he wants to show that the evil comes from the ball Earth. That's where the evil comes from. All right. Don't nobody get confused. All right. All right. What else did I want to show? yeah. I got one here. Check this out, guys. Oh, you guys are going to like this. Neil deGrasse has come out to congratulate the Indians for landing on the moon. So they have to whip out the world's most famous Disney astrophysicist, right? To congratulate India for their achievement of landing on the moon. That's how you know it's official now. Neil deGrasse coming out. James Richards says, Jake, you don't remember me from clear back in Hangouts? No, I don't. But I am a stoner and I forget shit. So that happens. Sorry if I don't remember you, James Richard. But if you go back to when they used to do Google Hangouts, if you're like that long of a subscriber, I appreciate the support, buddy. Thank you again for the super chats tonight. You're a gentleman and a scholar. All right. So, Neil deGrasse on India's moon landing and its significance. You guys are going to like this this intro. Watch the intro. Oh, what's that? What's that? See, they come right away with the pyramid on the intro. All right.
Major milestones here. One is that there are now 4 countries who have safely and softly landed on the moon, from Russia, the Soviet Union, the United States, China, and now India. I like it when the whole world participates in things and not just one country or another. So this is an important step. It's a sign to us all that space is everyone's backyard. And I foresee a day when, in 10 years, 20 maybe, where there are 10 countries or 50 countries. And so we are all then voyagers to this beautiful grand home we call our universe. So
typical Neil deGrasse using this fake hoax of an achievement as a reason to like bring the world together as one under the guise of space exploration being so amazing. Hey, Neil, shave your eyebrows, why don't you? Yeah, your eyebrows are getting a little out of control there, Neil. I know like that's Neil's like main talent is his eyebrows and like bulging his eyes out. He like bulges his eyes out and he moves his eyes or his eyebrows up and down. That's like his main way of expressing himself. That's like the extent of his talent. Ooh, right? Tries to mystify you with his eyebrows. So he uses like any sort of like space news as a reason to like talk about like the world coming together as one to explore this wonderful backyard that we call outer space. So he really likes to push the one world government narrative through us all being one exploring space. See? So one world government is an agenda by the elites. They want to combine all the governments together eventually, right? And space is one of the ways they can achieve that. We all want to explore the wonders of space. So it's not something that just America does. It's not something China does, or Russia does, or India. The whole world as a ball explores it together in harmony, right? So this is a way to like unite the world under one world government through fake space travel. And this is just the cartoon character they used to achieve this notion. with his mystical eyebrows. Oh, well, I envision a day when there's 50 million countries exploring the moon. Ooh, that's what I envision. See, and they're even talking about water. See, they're bringing up water. See that on the screen? See, they can't talk about water on Mars right now because they can't go to Mars right now because they realize that, like, they can't even get back to the moon. So now they're just going to bring water to the moon. So they're like, shit, we can't go to any other planets. No one's going to believe that we're going to any other planets. We already told them we can't get back to the moon. So now we just have to, like, discover water and aliens and shit on the moon because, like, if we say we go back to the moon to a spot we've never been, like the South Pole of the moon, and then there's water, people will believe that. See, so we never heard about water on the South Pole ever. And now it's like a common, well-known thing. Well, yeah, the Indians landed on the South Pole because there might be water there. See how they conveniently add water now to the moon? All right. And see, your common sheeple will act like, well, yeah, I've always known since I was like a baby that there's water on the South Pole of the moon. So if they come out and say they did find water on the South Pole of the moon, people will come out and be like, well, I always knew that there was water on the moon. Totally. I was waiting for him to talk about the I was saying when I was a baby, like I came out of my mom's vagina and I was like, there's totally water on the moon at the South Pole. They need to hurry up and go there and fucking look and check it for bacteria and aliens. Now they're finally getting around to doing what I said. All right, Retro Bill with a donation says brown people propaganda looks a lot like yellow people propaganda. It's all propaganda to me, sir. It's all propaganda. Thank you. I appreciate the donation, sir. Retro Bill, I appreciate you showing up and supporting this channel over the years and donating a bunch of times. You are an awesome dude. Thank you. So they got Neil deGrasse on the case. Let's hear a little more from Neil. He has a way with words.
So it's fourth out of how many in the future? I hope it's many more. So that's the first. Second, as is true for any science project, you don't want to redo what someone else has done and already been verified. You want to do something new. So I'm glad India did not land in the same place everybody else has landed on the moon. That's not interesting. You chose a place where no one has landed before, and that's the South Polar region of the moon. Now, you might have missed it by a day. The Russian spacecraft, Luna 25, was it? I forgot. That failed to land successfully. And so now, with this safe landing, Chandrayaan 3, you're the first ones on the block.
Why is that funny, Neil? Now, with the safe landing, you're the first ones on the block. Dude, nothing's funny about that. Nothing. If you want to talk about it being a great achievement, then talk about it being a great... Why is it funny? They always have Neil like, I'm about to bust up laughing no matter what I talk about. You see, the Indians landed on the moon. And it's a great achievement. I envision a day when 50 countries are on the moon and you can eat at McDonald's on the moon. Does that make it more real? That you think it's funny? I think it makes it less real. That you think it's so funny.
So that's an important place to be. Everyone.
Wow, he went from thinking it was so funny to like deadpan. Watch how he goes from like, oh my God, so funny. 2 seconds later, deadpan. Look. Ah! Where? See? It's the funniest shit ever. Look. He's so fucking hilarious.
Chandrayaan-3, you're the first ones on the block. so that's a
and now this. Look at that. See how quick he goes from one thing to the next. Like he goes from like, that's so hilarious to, I can't control my laughter. So yeah, that's a really good thing that they're doing that. So Chajarian, you're the first one on the block. So yeah, that's a really good thing that they're doing that. That they didn't land in the same place. Motherfucker right here, like, I don't understand what the infatuation is. Like, how does the common sheeple look at this guy and really think that he's that smart? What is it about? It's his eyebrows and the way he laughs and then goes back into like being serious so fast. Like, what is it? Well, I envision a day that there are 20 countries on the moon, and I'm just glad that they landed in a different place. Chandrayaan, congratulations. But seriously though, it's like a really good thing. It's like sheep at home are like, he's so smart. He knows so much about space. I love him. I'm so excited for India. But yeah, look at this face. Like, this is the guy that literally a split second ago could not control his laughter. And then like half a second later, now he's back in serious mode.
That's an important place to be. Everyone will be watching you and the results of this experiment and this rover and this lander and this search for water. We think there's water in the South Polar regions for very interesting scientific reasons. Watching you and the results of this experiment and this rover and this lander and the search for water. We think there's water in the South Polar regions for very interesting scientific reasons. So
we, as in me, you, Neil deGrasse Tyson, India, and the world, we look forward to finding out whether or not there's water on the moon because we have interesting reasons. We have interesting scientific reasons for believing there to be so. Hey, do you guys know why we think there's water on the moon? Because there's scientific reasons to think so. Sometimes, like, if you just isolate one of the little things that this cartoon character says, it's like there is no scientific information there. He just like claims it's scientific. Why is it scientific? Why is it interesting? What are the reasons? Watch.
the search for water. We think there's water in the South Polar regions for very interesting scientific reasons.
We, as in Neil deGrasse Tyson, me, you, everybody who ever existed, we all collectively think that there's water on the South Pole regions for interesting and scientific reasons, for which we're not going to discuss. Shocker, he doesn't go on to reveal what those reasons are. So, this man, who's supposed to be the smartest astrophysicist like in the world, right? And talks about we know that there's water probably on the moon. Like, how come he never talked about that before? I never heard Neil deGrasse talk about there being possible water on the South Pole of the moon ever. So 4 or 5 years ago, when I was roasting Neil deGrasse, he never said nothing about there being water possibly on the south pole of the moon. So this is something that just came out recently, as in like within the last few weeks, water on the supposed south pole of the moon. No one ever even said pole and moon. No one ever said south pole and moon. The moon was never talked about as having poles. And so now we're talking about water and poles on the moon, and he's acting like this is something that he's always talked about and always known, and we know. It's like, dude, you never said anything about this ever. I have a really good memory, and I don't remember anyone ever talking about water on the moon until now when India supposedly goes there. Never ever once has anyone said, I think there's probably water on the south pole of the moon back in the 80s or the 90s or the early 2000s or the 2010s or any fucking year until now. And Neil deGrasse is like, well, we have interesting scientific reasons to believe that there's water on the moon. Well, let's hear those reasons.
So I see those as the two milestones. And when Chandrayaan-2,
So he doesn't give the fucking reasons. He said there are reasons that are interesting and scientific, but then he does not go into any detail about the reasons. Kind of a big deal. How this whole water on the moon thing just showed up out of nowhere. The number one astrophysicist in the world says there's interesting scientific reasons. Can't talk about any of it. One more time, I really want to illustrate how he brings up these reasons and then does not bring up the actual reasons.
and the search for water. We think there's water in the south polar regions for very interesting scientific reasons. So I see those as the two milestones. And when Chandrayaan-2 failed, I said to myself, okay, well, there's time to learn from that failure.
So he fails to bring up the reasons and instead talks about the failure of a previous Chandrayaan mission and how he said to himself that there's some learning that needs to happen there with that failure. Oh, well, great, Neil. Thanks, Neil, for telling us how you felt about the past failure. So the last one failed, and he thought to himself that there's some learning that could go on for a future success, like this one. God, I'm glad they bring this guy out to explain all the science.
All right. Nothing wrong with failing when you're doing something no one has done before. You expect failure. So you need to train the audience to recognize that, okay, we learned from that.
Train the audience to recognize that we learned from that they learned from that. You have to train the audience. The audience needs training. You hear that? Neil deGrasse Tyson just said you have to train the audience. God, I love when these puppets start spilling the beans as to their evil plan. They're just reading a script telling us the truth in plain sight.
No one has done before. You expect failure. So you need to train the audience to recognize that, okay, we learned from that.
Got to train the audience, right? So you have the Russian spacecraft crash and fail, but then the Indian one makes it. You see, they learned from their failure and they trained the audience to believe in that fairy tale nonsense. See, you have to train the audience. Russia tried to go to the moon and they failed, but then India went and then they made it. They learned from the failure. See? See how that works, guys? You got to train the audience. The audience is too dumb to understand. They need training to see how it works.
And we make adjustments for the next mission so that those same mistakes are not made. If you make the same mistakes, no excuse. Bad. You make different mistakes, you kind of expect that. And this one is going along smoothly so far. And at the time we are recording this, they have yet to deploy the rover. So congratulations on the soft landing, but that's just the end of the beginning. We now have the beginning of the science and the engineering and the other technical questions getting asked. So we look forward to what those results would be.
All right, I just want to point out in the background, because all this is set up for a reason. So you got what looks like a globe, maybe two globes in the background, and then what looks like the rings of Saturn over here, and then this one looks like Mars, and then a Spalding basketball right underneath the American flag. So my thing is like, why do you have to have a Spalding basketball with Mars in your globe? So it's like they're showing a basketball is a ball, and Mars is a ball, and Earth is a ball, and these are all his balls. And so they really want to keep the image of Earth as a ball and all the planets as a ball in your head, so much so that they're going to like stick them behind Neil deGrasse along with a basketball. See? You got to mix that in there. Basketball, Mars, globes, Saturn. Right. So exactly, Sunflower. Neil loves balls. He loves to juggle balls in his mouth. He loves to suck on chocolate salty balls. He loves to suck on some chocolate salty balls. Put them in his mouth, and he sucks them in, sucks them.
Also, when Prime Minister Modi came through the United States, and I had the privilege of meeting him at the time, he confirmed for me that he would be signing, and he did sign, the Artemis Accord, which is a document, I forgot how many pages, a dozen pages or so, detailing a cooperative conduct in space for this generation's spacefaring nations, on the science you would do, the peaceful uses of that science, the sharing of the data. So with India landing in the South Pole, making the first measurements there, that will help inform subsequent missions to the South Pole. Of that science, the sharing of the data. So with India landing, detailing a cooperative conduct.
Okay, notice how he like emphasized cooperative. See how he emphasized that word? So that is intentional. That's intentionally written in the script, and he intentionally emphasized that word. And the reason is what I already talked about earlier. They want to unite all the world governments under one world government. And one of the ways they're going to do that is through space exploration. So this character, Neil deGrasse Tyson, is promoting one world space exploration with this speech that he's giving on television and on, this YouTube channel. So this whole speech that he's given, the whole script that he's reading, is tailored to one world space exploration. And space agencies are, of course, a branch of the government, i.e., one world government. So don't be fooled at all by what he's doing here. This is 100% promotion of all the governments coming together as one, except he's doing it under the guise of space travel. So notice how when he says the word cooperative, like he emphasizes that, like we all have to be cooperative. We have to cooperate as one if we're going to explore the cosmos together. See, we all need to come together and learn from each other's mistakes if we're going to cooperate cooperatively and explore the cosmos. See how that goes?
We now have the beginning of the science and the engineering and the other technical questions getting asked. So we look forward to what those results would be. Also, when Prime Minister Modi came through the United States, and I had the privilege of meeting him at the time, he confirmed for me that he would be signing, and he did sign, the Artemis Accord, which is a document, I forgot how many pages, a dozen pages or so, detailing a cooperative conduct in space for this generation's spacefaring nations, on the science you would do, the peaceful uses of that science, the sharing of the data. So with India landing in the South Pole, making the first measurements there, that will help inform subsequent missions to the South Pole, but not only other Indian missions, but other missions from other nations themselves.
Now check this out. So they're talking about the moon's South Pole. What other region is shrouded in mystery where all the countries agree is only for scientific research? Think about it. What's the other place shrouded in mystery that you're not allowed to go and explore where all the major countries who have a military and a space force, all those countries agree that that's for scientific use only? Yeah, the South Pole. So the South Pole, all the countries agree, is for scientific purposes only. Nobody owns it. You're not allowed to go there and explore freely. And India just landed on the south pole of the moon, right? And they want to cooperate with all the other countries, and so that they share the same data over what they found at the south pole of the moon. See how that they have parallels, like the South Pole here on the on Earth. I almost said the United States. South Pole on Earth, South Pole on the moon, right? And the governments are going to cooperate with each other. They cooperate with each other in Antarctica at the South Pole, and nobody owns it, and they all agree that that's for scientific purposes only. They don't fight wars over that, right? Not that we've ever heard of. No war in our history records about fighting over Antarctica or the South Pole. No, they all agree that it's for scientific research only. Oh, and guess what? Same applies to the moon's South Pole, right? We don't need to fight over the moon. No, it's not a race to see who gets there first or who discovers anything first. No, no, no. All the countries need to come together as one and explore the South Pole of the moon as one. See how it works? It's the same shit, man. South Pole of the moon, South Pole of the earth. It's the same mysterious thing, basically, right?
Probably will inform our Artemis mission to the moon, where we're sending astronauts, because they're going to the South Pole.
You send any astronauts to the moon, I'm gonna rip that shit apart. So here he is saying we. At this point, Neil deGrasse is considering himself we, no matter what happens in space. So I guess he's like one of those fanboys who like says we won the game. You know how an NFL fanboy will say, we won, we beat the Niners, we went out there and we ran the ball effectively and we won. And it's like, no, you sat your fat ass on the couch and ate popcorn while you watched television. So this guy sits his fat ass watching a screen and then includes himself as we. We. He ain't never been to space. This guy's never been on any rocket ship. He's never floated around in a spacesuit out in space. He's never done a spacewalk. All right. So he's never even went to fake space. And we're supposed to listen to this guy when he says, we this and we that, we. Sorry, Neil, you are not a we. You are just a Disney character who they wheel out to read a script. You don't actually go anywhere or do anything, Neil. You just read a script. That's all you do. And you move your eyebrows up and down. That's all Neil deGrasse is, a character who reads a script and moves his eyebrows up and down and bulges his eyes out and laughs at a specific point when he's told to laugh. So he's got some points where he reads his script and then he force laughs, bulges his eyes out, moves his eyebrows up and down. And that's the extent of this character. He's never, ever went to space or done anything in space ever. And he's supposed to be the biggest expert on space. Really, if you think about it, a supposed astronaut like Don Pettit would be more of a go-to authority with credentials than Neil deGrasse Tyson. But we get Neil deGrasse Tyson as the go-to astrophysicist always on the screen. Blundering idiot Don Pettit actually claims to be an astronaut. And so I'm more inclined to believe blumbering idiot Don Pettit than I am to believe this guy.
Want to know what you found, so that we can readjust and recalibrate and reprogram the experiments we would be doing, so that we can take advantage of what it is that you discovered there first. Yeah, I think I have to say, just because in the United States we know how to do things. We're good at spending money. We know how to do things. Yeah, I think I have to say, just because in the United States we know how to do things expensively.
So funny. I can see why you couldn't control yourself from laughing at that. Such a funny statement. I mean, there's no way you could hold back laughter after saying something that funny. God, Neil deGrasse, like, he's got that fake laugh down. Like, that's part of his character. Is say something that's not even remotely funny. It's not comedic. There's no punchline. And then act like it was just hilarious. Watch. Well, let's hear that one more time.
Yeah, I think I have to say, just because in the United States we know how to do things expensively.
Yeah, I think I want to say that in the United States we know how to do things expensively. That's how funny it was. Where'd my hat go? I think I threw my hat somewhere. Where the fuck did it go? I was being comedic and I chunked my hat up in the air and it's totally like not visible now. I don't know where it went. Where the fuck did my hat go? Oh. Oh no! Oh wait. It's okay. It looked like it was broken for a minute. I saw this and I was like, oh no! But then wait, it looks like it's okay. Looks like I can fix it. There. Okay, it's fixed. Whew. I overdid it with my comedy there. Sometimes I really want to like try and be funny, so I like throw a bunch of energy into a bit. And so that bit right there, I got so into it. I like picked up my chair and put it on my head, threw my hat. It'll be interesting to go back and watch that. Sometimes this shit just happens. There's no script. So whenever I see someone reading a script, I can totally tell. And I'm like, how do they do that? Like, who wants to sit there and read a script like a loser? Whereas my comedy just instinctively happens, just like it just comes out of me naturally, like that. And so whenever I see other people like trying to put like jokes in their script and then read it and then deliver it, it's like not funny at all. Yeah, it was too much for my hat to take. So the line that got Neil deGrasse to laugh uncontrollably is that in the United States, they spend too much. That's it. In the United States, I keep saying Spates. In the United States, we spend too much. That was it. That's what caused his uncontrollable laughter. Apparently, spending money in the United States is just so hilarious. Okay, let's continue.
We're good at spending money on missions. The fact that Chandrayaan cost 74 million in American dollars, $74 million. That's what we spend on movies, okay? On our science fiction movies. And our missions are typically, the unmanned missions are typically at least twice that much, typically 5 times that much, and occasionally 10 times that much. So I would be curious how you do it so affordably. That's important, because if you do it affordably, it means you can do it more times. Okay. And it's less of a loss if one of them fails. All of this matters in the total ecology of a space program. if everything costs a lot of money, then all your eggs in one basket. And if that fails, what do you do? Okay, you got to start from scratch again. I was delighted to read what adjustments were made on the Chandrayaan-3 relative to 2 once they figured out why that second mission failed. It was just what's supposed to happen when you're clever engineers. And for example, they made sure, because the south pole of the moon is more treacherous, it's not as smooth and flat as the regions selected by the Apollo era astronauts in the United States. We chose the flattest parts of the moon for the astronauts to land, because we don't want to get all the way to the moon and have them tip over because there's a cliff at the original landing site that we didn't anticipate. So here in the South Pole, the terrain is much rougher. So they built a wider search and capacity and fuel to go with it to find a safer place.
All right, you can tell he's like, he doesn't know a thing about this, and he's reading it on the script. This is the first time he's ever heard this or ever read this. So Neil, his character, he can emphasize these words while he's reading it and make it sound like he's saying this or that he knows about it. But I swear to you, the man is reading a script and he has no idea what's coming next. They can put whatever they want on the script and the dude's going to read it, and he's going to read it like Neil deGrasse Tyson would. And then they even probably have spots where they tell him to fake laugh. Like, say, in the United States, we spend a lot of money. Fake laugh. No. So he's right now just reading a script. You can tell by his cadence. He's just reading a script. And it seems to me, this is the first time he's ever read this script. It doesn't seem like he's made himself familiar with this to where it seems like something he's actually talking about normally. That last line sounded like he started to like lose it too. Like he started to like say something about, here, let me play it again. The last line sounded like he was screwing up. One sec.
Is more treacherous. It's not as smooth and flat as the regions selected by the Apollo era astronauts in the United States. We chose the flattest parts of the moon for the astronauts to land, because we don't want to get all the way to the moon and have them tip over because there's a cliff at the original landing site that we didn't anticipate. So here in the South Pole, the terrain is much rougher. So they built a wider search and capacity and fuel to go with it. Search and capacity and fuel for the astronauts to land, because we don't want to get all the way to the moon and have them tip over because there's a cliff at the original landing site that we didn't anticipate. So here in the South Pole, the terrain is much rougher. So they built a wider search and capacity and fuel to go with it.
They built a wider search capacity and fuel to go with it. They built a wider fuel capacity. The fuck does that mean? They built a wider search and fuel capacity to go with it because the terrain is so much more rough. You see right there, he started to screw up. Like, this is where he starts to like lose his own like train of logic. It doesn't like make sense anymore. I don't know what happened here, but you could tell he started to fidget right there. Like, that didn't make any sense. So if you actually sit and listen to the supposed astrophysicist, like what he actually says, sometimes it really doesn't even make any cohesive sense at all. So not only is he reading lines, it seems like he's screwing up while he's reading his lines. nobody really notices. Well, I just noticed that last line didn't really make any sense now, did it? Like if you were really, really into science, right? Like that last line, you have to admit, doesn't quite make any sense. We built the surge capacity and larger fuel capacity. Didn't oh,
Regions selected by the Apollo era astronauts in the United States. We chose the flattest parts of the moon for the astronauts to land because we don't want to get all the way to the moon and have them tip over because there's a cliff at the original landing site that we didn't anticipate. So here in the South Pole, the terrain is much rougher. So they built a wider search and capacity and fuel to go with it to find a safer place.
Oh, okay. That sounds totally scientific and legitimate now that you explain it like that. So yeah, there you go. The world's #1 astrophysicist, Neil deGrasse. All right. Yeah, you don't want to get there and then find out there's a cliff and then have the whole thing tip over. You know, it sucks. Right. Exactly. And that's why you need a large search fuel capacity because it's treacherous on the south pole of the moon. But of course, if you were to point out how that statement doesn't make any sense to a sheep, they would attack you and say that you're not an astrophysicist, so therefore he can't be wrong. If you were to show a normie that last sentence of what Neil said and point out how it doesn't make any sense at all, they would say, well, you're not an astrophysicist, so what do you know? Right? Yes, Jimmy Jack Jasper Jones the third. Cliffs can be dangerous if you are on the moon. So I want everybody to be well aware if you're ever on the moon, watch out for cliffs. They can be dangerous. It's good information from Jimmy Jack Jasper Jones the third. All right. Okay, so we pretty much went over all that shit. There was one last video I wanted to show you on the India thing. And I won't watch the whole thing, but apparently India is claiming that the West is questioning India's achievements and that the West is bitter about India's achievements. I thought this was funny. There we go. All right. So it says, why is the West questioning India's achievements?
Let's start our next story with a cartoon. It's from the New York Times. It shows two men sitting inside a room. It's called the Elite Space Club. One of them is reading a newspaper. The headline says, India's Mars mission. It is shown as a man with a cow. India is shown as a man with a cow knocking on the door. I'm sure you'll agree that this is racist and in very poor taste. I'm sure you've seen the cartoon before, including on this show. We've been asking for an updated version. Will the New York Times publish something that is more in tune with reality? We're not holding our breath for a response because the West is back to playing its old games, discrediting India's achievements and questioning India's motives.
The West is questioning India's achievements and its motives. They showed this cartoon, which is in poor taste, of a man from India with a cow, and he knocked on the door, and the elite space club people inside are not letting him in. Of course, you know that this is in a bad taste and this is racist. I want you to know how racist this is, because the man with the knocking and the cow outside is not being portrayed as the way that they are supposed to be. And then she's like, and I'm sure you have seen this and you know that it is racist. Like, no, none of us have seen that stupid cartoon, and none of us feel sorry for you. We don't think it's racist. We think you're a fucking liar and that you never went to the moon, and that you're as big of a fraud as NASA. So none of us give a flying fuck about this stupid cartoon. But yeah, let's all pretend that this cartoon is a big deal for sure. Right?
Sitting inside a room. It's called the Elite Space Club. One of them is reading a newspaper. The headline says, India's Mars mission. It is shown as a man with a cow. India is shown as a man with a cow knocking on the door. I'm sure you'll agree that this is racist and in very poor taste. I'm sure you've seen the cartoon before, including on this show. We've been asking for an updated version. Will the New York Times publish something that is more in tune with reality? We're not holding our breath for a response because the West is back to playing its old games, discrediting India's achievements and questioning India's motives. Let me lay out the facts first. Chandrayaan-3 is an Indian mission in space. It is the world's first to land on the moon's south pole. This is a fact.
She claims it's a fact as she reads it from a script. Yeah, that's not any fact in my world. Definitely not a fact in any reality that I'm a part of. In fact, I'm here to prove that it's not a fact. All right, we got Gino X coming in with the donation, says, so tired of Israel not being called out, so much evidence. Hey, thank you very much, Gino, for the donation. I appreciate that. See, I thought this video was funny, the way they're like trying to condemn the West for like not being proud enough of their achievements. Like what is it that you're bitching about? Like, you got Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's an American physicist, right? Astrophysicist, that says that he's happy that India made it to the moon. And then you have a bunch of, Americans talking about it and tweeting it and believing it and stuff. So now, like, this whole like video here, it's like Americans are questioning the Indians' achievement. Like, oh yeah, who? Like, who is this aimed at? Is this aimed at like people like me who say that it's a complete joke and that it's a fraud and a hoax? Is that who you're talking about? Questioning your achievements? I'm more than questioning your achievements. I'm saying that there was no achievement. So I almost feel like this stuff is aimed at the naysayers like us who say it's not real. So I feel like this video was made kind of towards us, because if you look at mainstream science coming from America, all of it is congratulating India. So I don't understand like what this whole like, why is the West questioning India's achievements news clip? I don't even understand why they even made this, other than to rub this in the face of people like me and you who think it's completely fake, or we know it's completely fake. So I was kind of surprised that this even exists, with this lady like complaining. She says she's going to give us the facts that this spacecraft landed on the south pole of the moon. Like, well, all we have is some really terrible footage of a panel and some grainy possible moon footage in the background, but it's easily faked. So far, all we have is that, and then a rover being deployed, which also looked grainy and terrible, easily faked. So there isn't much that we've been given to even go over so far. Gino X says, just in time for Vivek and throw attention off Israel, who caused 911 to clean up. Just in time for Vivek. Yeah, I'm a little confused by that last one. I get the last part, what you're talking about, but I'm confused by the Vivek part. Anyway, thank you, Gino. I appreciate the donations. LA Methwitch coming in with a donation as well. Thank you, LA Methwitch. Methwitch.
As we speak, the Pragyan rover is out exploring, looking for traces of water. This too is a fact. Also a matter of pride for India, a big achievement for science and a gift to the world. But how have they responded? With skepticism, condescension, and their trademark hypocrisy. Listen to this.
As they spend their money on space probes, as they spend their money on the military, they spend their money on nuclear weapons, still half of the country lives below the poverty line. But the biggest injustice of all.
That was Nigel Farage, the man who heralded Brexit, a politician known for his scandals and his hypocrisy. He says India is wasting money on space missions. Why? Because half of its population lives in poverty. The racism is shining through. Also, the utter disconnect with reality. We are happy to share some facts with Mr. Farage. It may have slipped his notice that India is the world's 5th largest economy. It is, in fact, ahead of his country, the United Kingdom. But it seems he can't get rid of his colonial mindset. I mean, how can poor India have aspirations? How can a former colony reach the moon before the so-called Great Britain? And since he's so keen on discussing priorities, we have a question for him. Why does Britain keep paying for the royal family? Their citizens cannot afford their electricity bills. Maybe help them instead of paying for the king and his retinue.
All right, so she's responding to comments from this British guy that they aren't using the money. They're using all this money to explore space or land on the moon rather than to fix their problems with their economy and so forth. And so I would argue that same thing, that no country should be trying to explore space if they have a homeless issue. So even if I was to believe in the notion of space travel, which I don't believe in space travel at all. I think that money would be better used to solve, the homeless the homeless crisis across the world, and hunger issues across the world, rather than to explore space, even if I did believe in space exploration, which I don't. So being that I don't, I even more so think that money being used for whatever it's being used for is wrong, because it's being used for black ops and God knows what, rather than to feed and house all the people who could actually use that money. So yeah, anyone saying that India should be ashamed of themselves for exploring space and doing a moon mission when they have all this poverty in their country that they could be dealing with. I think that's a fair argument. And also, I would go even farther and say that the argument is that they're faking space and straight stealing that money. So they aren't spending that money on space travel when they could be spending it on solving their poverty issues. They're lying to people, deceiving people, and scamming the public. So that English guy, whoever it was, he didn't point out that they're lying about space travel and faking space. So, of course, I'm here to point out that they're lying about it and faking it and stealing the money. And of course, it could be better used to solve their poverty issues in the country rather than to fake space travel and scam people and lie about it. But you won't hear that from any other government talking head on television, of course. Right? So it's not like the guy from England was saying, like, oh, well, they're faking space travel. And instead of faking it, they should be using that money to solve their poverty issues in the country. No. So we're ignoring the fact that they're faking it. And she's using the word fact, saying that it's a fact that India's on the moon with a rover on the South Pole looking for water. There is no facts to prove that. There's no evidence to prove that whatsoever. In fact, the facts are there's no evidence that India is on the moon or anyone is on the moon or will ever go to the moon. And those are the facts. And then you see how it says West hatches conspiracy theories as India lands on the moon. See, again, I don't hear anyone from America, as far as celebrities, politicians, or anyone is concerned, saying that India didn't land on the moon. So there's not a single credible scientific source saying India didn't land on the moon and they're lying about it. So I don't know what this whole notion with the West hatches conspiracy theories as India lands on the moon. That I haven't seen any of that. So the only conspiracy theories they would be talking about would be people like me pointing out the real conspiracy, which is not a theory. I'm pointing out the very real conspiracy that they did not land on the moon and they're lying about it. And it's a big deception. And any money that went towards this supposed space travel is a big giant scam. So again, this video is kind of strange. I was surprised that they even made this video, being that like the United States wheeled out Neil deGrasse Tyson to talk about how proud he was of their achievement. Now here she's going to say the West is hatching conspiracy theories. See how they talk out of both sides of their ass? All right, Rob Gunn with a donation says, Jake, longtime supporter, and thought I'd mention that I'm Indian and fully support this message. Don't worry, not offended at all. It is fake and ridiculous. I'm someone self-hating of India. Yeah, well, you should know that whenever I do like voices, like making fun of a certain culture or whatever, it's all just for comedic effect to get everyone to laugh and have a good time, and that I don't personally have anything against Indian people. And so like if you're of Indian descent from India, what have you, like I don't have any ill will towards you or mean anything harmful to you by doing the voice and stuff like that. So I'm glad that you're able to see that I'm trying to perform a truthful comedy routine, like do a comedy routine while keeping everything as factual and truthful as possible. And so I'm glad that you're able to see what I'm doing and not be offended by it, even if you are from India, because the point isn't to offend people. It's actually to wake people up to the truth. And if you're already awake to the truth, to make you laugh and entertain you with how ridiculous the world stage is. And so, yeah, when I do these voices and make fun of cultures and stuff like that, it's not to paint everyone in Indian culture as being evil or a moron or this or that. It's to paint the ones who are doing the evil deeds uh, as being the evil ones. So I'm trying to basically make fun of the ones who are uh, pulling this evil charade and point that out rather than I am to make fun of an entire people's culture. Because sometimes it gets misconstrued when I do these voices that like I'm trying to make fun of an entire culture of people when that's not so much the case. I'm more doing it to bring comedic light to the fact that other countries and their governments are every bit as evil as our country and our government. And so I go as far as to make fun of American politicians, and I'll make fun of Indian politician, Chinese politician. It doesn't matter. And so I'm glad you aren't offended by me doing what I do. I know that's kind of a weird way to explain it, long-winded, but I hope you get what I'm trying to say. All right. And Gino X with a donation says distractions for Israel influence the U.S. foreign and domestic policy. I know I'm a buzzkill, but we need to connect the dots. So what, you think that this moon stuff is all just big distraction from Israeli foreign and domestic policy? Is that like what you're trying to get at? I'm just curious. All right, Leslie Guy wants to hear about Trumptricity.
Frankly, everybody's talking about how India just landed on the moon. But really, if you want to be honest, why should I get excited about something that happened back in 1969? We already went to the moon, okay? And I'm going to offer an alternative solution in the future. When I come back as your president, as you know, I'm going to be installing a new form of electricity. It's going to be greener, more efficient. It's going to cost much less. We're going to save billions, all right? Now, this is going to be called Trumptricity, and we're also going to be doing some amazing things as far as space travel is concerned. We're going to be sending humans back to the moon. That's right. When I come back as your president, we are going to be putting man on the moon again. And do you know what our rockets are going to be running on? Trumptricity, baby. Every rocket from here on out from America going to the moon is going to be running on Trumptricity, full steam ahead. China is going to be wishing that they had Trumptricity running through their rockets. And you know what? I'm going to be happy to sell it to them.
There you go. There you go. Aurora says he's coming back with the nuclear script. Oh yeah, that's right. He said,
You know what concerns me most? The most concerning thing right now, nuclear warming. Nobody's talking about it. All right? When I come back as your president, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sign a bill. We need to get rid of nuclear warming. Okay? And the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to walk right into China and I'm going to look the prime minister right in the face and I'm going to say, China. I'm just going to say China right to his face and he's going to know. He's going to know right away who he's dealing with.
I don't know where I was going with that. I'm going to walk right in and I'm going to say China. He's going to know then. All right. Okay. There you go. Indian space shit. Good times, huh? Leslie Guy says, I love your impressions, Jake. Oh, well, thank you very much, Leslie. I love that you love my impressions.
I don't know if you've been paying attention, but they've been talking about India landing on the south pole of the moon. Now, what we should be talking about is the nano drones that have been hanging out on the south pole of the moon ever since the 70s. The reason why NASA stopped going to the moon in the 70s was because they discovered that there were Chinese nano drones hovering around the South Pole. I am serious, people. I've been talking about this for years, and everything I've ever said has come true. Now, when the Indians realized that these Chinese drones are not only invisible, but they're invincible, and they're going to override the Indian circuitry, they're going to need to get right with God if they're going to have any chance at defending themselves. They're going to need to get under their bed. They're going to need to put the Bible squarely between their legs, all right? And they're going to have to repent to God. But at any rate, I digress. So you can like, share, or subscribe, or don't. At any rate, I'm out.
There you go. Little Richie there. Little Richie.
Let me tell you something, folks. Now, when Trump comes back as our president, I fully expect him, when he installs Trumptricity, to take man back to the moon. And what you're seeing right now in India, all right, is a farce. Now, let me tell you what, when Trump comes back, that's when you're really going to see man walking on the moon. India, what they're trying to do is turn the frogs gay. Now, I saw a frog outside. It was hopping near my neighbor's fence, and I saw him getting gay with another frog. And my neighbor was out there, and I was looking at my neighbor's ass, and I was thinking to myself, I'm going to take me a bite of my neighbor's ass. I'm going to cook me up some of my neighbor's ass in a crock pot. I'm going to eat my neighbor's ass with some rump roast. Times are getting tough, and my babies are not going to go hungry. I'm going to cook my neighbor. I'm fixing to eat my neighbor any day now. I'm going to eat my neighbor's ass with some Chianti and fava beans. But seriously, folks, I saw frogs having interdimensional anal sex with each other. And that's when I knew President Trump, he was going to come back. He was going to make America great again. But these damn globalists, need to fight back. They're having interdimensional gay sex with all the frogs. And these damn globalists, they don't know that President Trump's got a plan. And when he comes back with his plan, all right, when he installs Trumptricity, that's when you're going to see some real shit going down, if you know what I mean.
There you go. Got some Richie from Boston. Got some Alex Jones there. I haven't whipped out AJ in a while, so it was time.
These damn frogs, they were giving fellatio to one another. I saw one of these frogs, and he was jumping back and forth, and then rocking his torso to and fro. And then this other frog looked like he wanted to give him fellatio, and I was like, these damn globalists, they need to be stopped. They need to take it to these damn globalists in Washington, D.C.
Thank you, John. I try my hardest. I give you guys all I got to give. Thank you, Leslie. I appreciate that.
was watching on the news. India landed the Chandrayaan down on the south pole of the moon, and they was looking for some water on the south pole. And I asked myself, how come we never see a black man in outer space? How long we gonna go before a black man get to walk on the moon? We gonna go 100 motherfucking years before a black man get to walk on the moon. India gonna be drinking water from the South Pole, and a black man can't be walking on the moon. If India gonna put a remote control car on the moon, black man ain't never gonna get to walk on the moon.
There you go. And then I was like, hell yeah. India be driving around there on the moon. And I was like, hell no. But shh, man, quit playing. India be on the moon. Yep. Little ice cube on the moon. And I was like, hell yeah. And the Indian Space Agency, they wasn't trying to fuck with us. But man, I was like, fuck the Indian Space Agency. And they wasn't trying to work with us. And I was like, hell no. Man, hell yeah. There's one thing that is very, very important. It is if you're going to the moon, then you need to make sure to wash your hands and you need to wear gloves at all the time. As if a human was to go to the moon and they was to spread the bacteria and the diseases on the moon, or that they could cause a global outbreak and a pandemic upon the moon. And that is the last thing that you ever want to happen. So if you are to go to the moon, the last thing that you want to do is to spread the germ and the bacteria all over the moon. So you need to wash your hands. You put the hand sanitizer all of the hands on all of the time. And then when you get on the moon buggy and you go buggying around the moon, then you don't spread the disease. There you go. Don't want to spread any disease on the moon, do you, Arnold? It is very important that you take a chemical concoction if you are going to go to space, so that therefore you do not cause an international space epidemic. Of course, when I say screw your freedom, I did not mean to do your freedom personally. I mean your freedom. I don't know where I was going with that one. Can I do Joe Pesci? I haven't practiced Joe Pesci, but if I was gonna like try and give it a try. So I'm like a clown to you? So you think it's funny that that the Indians are going to the moon? That's like a joke to you? It's like a big joke. The Indians landed on the moon? That's funny. They're like clowns. The Indians are like clowns to you. That's funny, huh? You think it's funny that Indians landed on the moon, huh? Like a big fucking joke, huh? Just like a fucking joke to you, the Indians landing on the moon? Hey, tough guy. I fucking hit your head with a fucking baseball bat. Indians landed on the moon, eh? There you go. It's about the best I got. I've never practiced Joe Pesci, so I just made that one up off the top of my head. Nathan Maverick says, your thoughts on why the moon is now red and blue? I haven't seen the moon being red and blue. Well, actually, I saw the moon being reddish during an eclipse. So I have seen a blood red moon a few times in my life. But mainstream science always just says that it's an eclipse and that's how it's supposed to look. So I can't tell you why for sure the moon changes colors or what the moon is for sure, because I just don't know. And there's no way to verify. But mainstream science will have some sort of excuse to tell you why it changes color. Nathan says it's in a recent Photoshop picture now on the internet. Yeah, you got to watch out for fake crap on the internet, and there's a lot of conspiracy theory bait going around in different subjects. So always be weary of what you're looking at and where it came from. And just remember, anything you see on a screen can be faked, pretty much.
Let me tell you something, folks. The moon is turning gay. The globalists have a plan, and it's to turn the moon into a homosexual. Anybody that tries to go to the moon will instantly be turned into a homosexual. You will start having homosexual urges if you start making your way to the moon. If you were to get in a rocket, which of course is shaped like a penis for a reason, it's to put homosexual thoughts into your brain. Therefore, when you're on the way to the moon, you're already thinking that you're inside of a giant penis. So you get inside of a giant penis and you start heading towards the moon, and the moon turns people gay. And now, the government, they aren't coming out and telling you, but I'm here to tell you the truth, folks. The moon turns people gay, and if you look at it too long, all right, you'll start having gay thoughts. That's right. If you look at the moon for too long, you'll turn into a lunatic, and you'll start having homosexual thoughts. All right.
Oh. Doing Alex Jones kind of hurts the throat. Causes like esophagus damage. Funny you bring up the mag, because he put out a video today that I wish he didn't do it, but it looks like Mag's another damn disinfo agent. I didn't want it to be true. Every once in a while he'll say something that I'm like, Mag, no, don't do that. But today he put out a video and he's showing the cartoon lands outside the AE map. You know, the fictitious land masses that some flat earthers like to show. So Mag's showing those and claiming that those are real places and that that's where human origin comes from. So now Mag is showing cartoons from places that he can't prove exists, saying that that's where humans came from. Now, some people don't mind. You know, there's a lot of people who are flat earthers. They call themselves truthers, and they'll say, oh, well, there is more land that's undiscovered. So it's perfectly acceptable to just show a cartoon of land and just say that that's real. Here's the thing. You can say that there's more land, probably, that you think there's more land. That's totally acceptable. I've said that a shitload of times. But if you show a cartoon of extra land and claim that that's real, that I have a problem with. So if you're going to show like extra land masses and be like, oh, that's Hyperborea, that's Fantasia, that's Atlantis, you better have some awesome proof to go with it. Besides, of course, it's a cartoon. There it is. See? And so Mag, he went with the cartoon AE map, but it has the extra land masses outside of it. I don't know if you've seen that one. I'll show you. And now he's saying that that's where humans come from, is those extra land masses. It's like, why would you say that, dude? That's such a stupid thing to say. And he's like, let me tell you something, people. The reason we have these earthquake, volcano, and things like this in natural disasters because man does not originate from here. Man comes from this other place. And then he shows these other places that are just cartoons. So, sad deal. Looks like Mag is definitely another misinformation pusher. Here, I'll go ahead and show you guys. And some people might not like this. They're going to be mad at me for showing that Mag's fucking pushing in misinformation, but the truth is the truth. That's what he's doing.
Posey B. Control environment basically controlled by the evil peoples. And like I said, they have to take you here in this middle right here for the manipulation. A lot of people don't understand. So this map right here, gonna break it down a little bit for you so you can understand. This is where they have you in the center right here. And if you notice flightradar.com, gonna show you that how the plane move around in this earth right here in the circle, in this part of the earth. They don't want you to get no kind of glimpse of these right here, these continents that outside of the ring.
Guys, Mag is doing no different than NASA. He's showing you a cartoon and he's leading you astray. He just said that they don't want you to see those continents outside the ice wall. The ones that he's showing you. So they don't want, them, the bad guys, don't want you to see those cartoon continents outside the ice wall that are completely made up, that Mag has no proof of. Now, I know there's probably people here who love Mag and want to suck his dick and think everything he says is 100% truth because you've loved him for so long. Well, here's the deal. You can't show a cartoon and act like you have proof of that and then push it as being true and then tell people that they're not showing these other continents. Well, dude, prove those other continents are real first. Like, that would be the most amazing thing ever in the world if Mag proved that there's other continents out there for sure. So he's showing this cartoon, telling people that there's other continents out there and that those are them, that those are the ones. He's not saying this is what it could look like. He's saying that those are the fucking continents that are hidden from you. That means Mag's a fucking disinfo agent, straight up. You can't say that. This is what David Weiss does. He shows a cartoon map of places that aren't real, that are made up. No proof to even show they exist. And then claim that, like, we're humans from some other place, from one of these other land masses. That's misinformation. And so Mag gets more views than me here on YouTube, even though he's been taken out over and over again. Sometimes he'll just pop back up with a new channel and just get tens and thousands of views. So he always gets more views than me on every video, but he's straight up blatantly lying. Like, there's no proof that there's any of these places that he says. Now, do I think that there could be extra land? Yes. I've said that a shitload of times. Have I ever shown you another piece of land and told you that that is really a place? Never. Never, ever, and I never will. I would have to have proof of that. I'm never going to show you a country or a landmass out over here and be like, oh, this is Patatia. Look, here's Petitia. Here's Petitatudiu. Here's Atlantis. Here's Thoth, the moving island. Ooh, here's this extra sun, and here's an extra moon, and another extra sun. Oh, wow. This is all being hidden from us. That's bullshit, dude. Anyone who fucking takes this stance and thinks it's okay to, like, push disinfo, This is what David Weiss does. This is what a lot of so-called flat earthers and truthers do. Look at all these extra islands and all these extra worlds being hidden from you. Dude, that's a cartoon. Misinformation. Disinformation. So Mag is literally leading his audience to believe that those other places are real. He does not state that this is what could be out there. No. He goes on to say he thinks humans come from these outer worlds.
Do you get it? So that's why we talk about it earlier. The human origin is not here. They lied to you the whole time because we're not from here. That's why the sun killing you, the heat. I shouldn't say the sun, the heat waves that they got all around the world. Wildfire burning you. You're getting rain, flood, mudslide, earthquake, everything in the book right here, in this circle right here. So you have to understand this is not where the human come from.
So he deduces that humans don't come from the middle of what he's showing there because of earthquakes and mudslides. That doesn't make any sense. So because of earthquakes and mudslides, humans have to come from other places other than the middle there, and it has to be those other worlds that he's showing on the screen. Get right out of town with that shit. How did this guy become like the top truther and be able to just push a cartoon just like NASA does all of a sudden, literally pulling what NASA would pull? So this is no different than India claiming they landed on the moon. Now you got a Mag talking about these other worlds and that's where humans come from. Oh, let me tell you something, people. You need to wake up right now. You have mudslide and you have earthquake. That does not exist in nature. So it only exists like in this world where you live now, but it didn't before. So are you telling me there's no mudslides and there's no fucking earthquakes on any of those other continents? So if I go to that Thoth the Moving Island or Pitatitia over on the right, that there's no such thing as mudslides or earthquakes? Come on. You see how stupid this shit is? And people suck Mag's dick all day long and tell him how great he is. Oh, Mag with the bam. Mag bitter truth with the bam. It's my bamly, my family. Bam with the truth and a bam and a bam, 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 ba bam, bam, bam. Look where he's leading you. He's leading you down the same fake path as India landing on the moon. I hate to say it. I subscribe to Mag and I watch his vids. But dude right here, shit the bed, total agent. I'm going to have to unsubscribe and fucking completely stop watching the dude after this one. Straight up, like, that's how quickly I wash my hands of somebody. Like, oh, you're going to tell your whole audience humans come from one of these other places and you have no proof?
The human didn't originate it from the circle right here that they have us in. But like I say, we need assistance once we leave the original spot right there. Now, the reason why I'm going to talk about it before we get into anything else.
He said the original spot right there, as in the original place where man came from, is what? That thing called Hapis? There's a fucking landmass on the screen called Hapis. Hapis. Do you have proof of that existing? Does anyone have proof of Hapis existing and people coming from there? Mag just told his whole audience that that's where people come from. He just casually told you that Hapis on the screen is where people come from. This guy gets more views than me on every video as if he's some sort of source for truth. And here he is pushing a cartoon as the source of where man comes from. But I guess you guys are cool with that. All you Mag fans out there, totally cool with it. You don't have a problem with it at all. All you Mag lovers, you think that you come from Hapice because he said so. You come from that cartoon. All your family and everyone you know originates from that cartoon because Mag says so. Oh, what? Am I being a dick for calling him out for making something up like where man originates from? Fuck Mag for life for saying this. Man originates from a cartoon on the screen. Fuck Mag for life. Disinfo agent shill. Unsubscribing from the dude. Done with that dude. All I'm ever going to do is make fun of him now. He just straight told you we come from Hapice, the place on the screen. He didn't say maybe this is what it looks like. Here's what could be out there. No! Man comes from these cartoons.
The reason why I feel like this right here is basically the Garden of Eden. Sound stupid? Yeah, well, they mentioned that shit and it's there for real. And I talk about food in abundance and it grown.
There it is, you guys. It's the Garden of Eden because he says so. Mag says that that's the Garden of Eden. You're looking at the Garden of Eden on screen. And you know what's there? Food in abundance. Every fruit and vegetable just grows wild there. You know how I know? The proof's right there on screen. Hapice. Happus. Hapice. There it is. The Garden of Eden. You're literally looking at the Garden of Eden. I can see the fruit growing. Look at all the fruit. Can't you see it? I just want to go eat some of those beautiful fruits that I see growing everywhere. And again, I'm angry because I followed this dude a little bit and would actually like listen to this dude, check up on this dude. It's hard to find other people like myself who do what I do, who I can like trust as not being an agent. And here he goes, being a fucking agent, being a gatekeeping piece of shit agent. So I guess it's me. I'm the only real one, and there is nobody else I can listen to as far as channels that actually get any views. So any channel that gets any sort of views outside of me obviously is a liar and full of shit. And it goes as far as Mag. And like I say, Mag somehow, some way gets more views than I do and blatantly is lying to people. Doesn't have any proof of what he's talking about here. But he gets a pass. Nobody really gives Mag shit for making stuff up like this. He gets a pass for all this. Just tens of thousands of motherfuckers. Bam! Oh, you hit him with the bam! Everybody in the comments talking about bam this and bam that. Not one person except for me is like, dude, there's no proof of any of those cartoons that you just showed. See, so I call out other truthers just as much as I call out the government for lying. So here's Mag lying every bit as much as India about the moon landing. No different. He's lying about other worlds and the origins of man, which is a pretty big deal. He's not casually telling a lie. He's lying about your origins, where you come from. You, humanity, me, we, where we come from. Mag is trying to be the authority, and we're supposed to listen to him tell us that we come from this fucking cartoon. Gee, that's almost like listening to India with a cartoon landing on the moon, right? Should we believe them? See, so I hold these supposed truthers accountable, and I've been let down and disappointed by basically all of them. So when people are like, Jake, are you telling us you're the only one who's real? I guess so. I guess I'm the fucking only one who's real. I guess so. Jake, you're the only one and everyone else is a shill? Yes! Every goddamn one of them. All shills. What do you want me to tell you?
In the dirt, in the earth, naturally. Most of it you don't even have to plant. It just grow. And most of the food that you're getting right here in this circle, they imitate it from here.
How many things can he make up in one video without any proof? So all the food is that we have here is imitation from Hapis, where the real stuff grows, and you don't even have to plant it. So he's saying food grows in abundance in Hapis. You don't have to plant any of it. No seeds, no nothing. You don't have to like do anything to the soil. You don't have to do a damn thing. It just grows perfect. And he knows that because he's Mag. And in the center where we live, they just imitate what's going on in Hapis. So how many things can he say without any proof before somebody steps up and goes, oh, hey, where's your proof, dude? Hey, if you have no proof, then that means you're just basically making shit up, bro. But of course, if you're a truther and you talk about any other truther in any sort of negative light, people think that you're being a negative Nazi. We should all work together. Jake, you shouldn't talk negative about Mag or about Russian VIDS or about David Weiss. We should all get together because we're all truthers and love each other. And it doesn't matter what anyone says. We should just all be friends around the ice wall. Right? Can't fucking say anything about anyone else lying or scamming, right? If they're supposedly a truther, it makes me a bad guy. So I notice whenever I do point out David Weiss is a scammer, Russian VIDS is a scammer, any of these guys, Mag's a scammer. You know what happens? Oh, I lose subscribers and people bitch and moan. Every time. Every fucking time. So trying to point out like that there's agents and shills, like I do it, but I get very little appreciation for it. And in fact, I get a lot more people pissing me off saying stupid shit. So yeah, there you go. Mag's just another damn lion agent shill. Just like all the rest of them. Let me tell you something, people. You need to wake up right now. You need to wake the fuck up right now. All the food that's being grown is an imitation. The real one come from Hapis. Oh, okay. Thank you, Mag. And you know that because you came from there? You went there on your Mag boat and discovered it and saw all the food growing naturally? So apparently Mag went to Hapis, spent time there, saw how the food grows, and he knows that it grows in abundance without seeds or you having to till the land or use any sort of tractors or anything. You don't have to do any of that. It grows perfect. He went there. He knows. I wish we could see the video of Mag hanging out in Hapis. Hey, Mag, post a video of you in those other fucking worlds. That would be awesome. Show us what those other worlds are like. And then I'll believe you. And then I'll tell everybody I was wrong that Mag did go to those other worlds. Jonna here says, would it be possible to sing the Indian moon landing song before the end of your stream? Yes, it would totally be possible, especially for a beautiful mod like you sending a super chat. Land on the moon, we land on the moon. Land on the moon, we land on the moon. Land on the moon, we land on the moon. Land on the moon, we land on the moon. India, we are going to the moon. We're going to take a cow to the moon. We're going to milk the cow on the moon. India, and we land on the moon. We land on the motherfucking moon. Everybody knows and we know it, but soon you coming down and you come to the moon and you go to 7-Eleven and we build it on the moon. I don't know. There you go. I made up a lot of extra words. There you go. So I came up with that song as a parody. There's a Pakistan song called Leave Me Alone, Please Leave Me Alone, Leave Me Alone, Please Leave Me Alone. So I remixed Leave Me Alone Pakistan song into Land on the Moon, We Land on the Moon. Leave me alone, please leave me alone. Turned into Land on the Moon, we land on the moon. See how that goes? Yeah. Thank you, Jonah. I appreciate the super chat. And thank you for being a longtime donor and you're a sweetheart. Okay, so we went over the India fake moon landing. We went over all the different pieces of footage that are supposed to be real and the one that is a simulation. So nobody should be confused on what is considered and what is supposed to be real versus what is supposed to be a simulation. So we went over all that nonsense, and then we just went over how, you know, Mag is lying about extra lands and the origins of man, which is a shame. So if you missed the first part of the stream, definitely go back and watch and catch up on that. And I guess that was pretty much all I had for you guys tonight. So I guess I'll let you guys enjoy the rest of your Friday night, and I'll go ahead and get off here, and I'll try to do another stream in another week or so. And until then, this is Jake the Asshole signing out. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you to all my mods and everyone who donated and joined me tonight. I don't, get to read every single comment that comes in, but I do go back and read every comment during the replay. So I watch the replay after the stream ends, and I see who all was here and who says what. So while I'm doing the stream, it's easy for me to miss hundreds and hundreds of your comments. But I want you guys to know that once the stream ends, I read every comment that comes in. And so if you think that, like, I'm ignoring you or missing it, I don't. I see all of them. And I catch the troll comments too. So the troll comments that come in, they don't sneak by me. When I watch the replay, if I see a troll comment that sneaks through, I go through and I ban that person. So I see every single comment that everyone makes, and I want to thank you guys for being here and being in chat and talking with me and spending your evening with me. You can do whatever you want on a Friday night. So thank you for spending your evening with me. And with that said, I think I'm about ready to get off here. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this thing down. You guys have a wonderful night, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.